Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to talk about processing our pigs. I know in a previous video when I asked myself, is it worth it? I kind of was saying like how much we liked having the pigs and all the things that we were liking about them, but I also talked a little bit about the struggles that we were having. Today I'm going to talk about the process of butchering them and is it really worth raising your own pork? We'll go over numbers. I'll go through all the statistics that are relevant to us and exactly how much we paid, cost, all of that stuff. Let's jump into it. We bought each of our pigs, they're old spot pigs. We bought them, they were like 3 months old and they were $100 each. So total for our pigs was $200. And then we got our feed from a local feed mill, the co-op in Union City. We get all of our feed there for our animals besides the dogs, and we just love getting it there. And the cost of that was $200 about. It could have been a little bit more. I'm not 100% sure. I should have kept better record on that, but from what I can gather, it was about $200. And then our butcher cost was $300. So all in total, we're at about $700, give or take a little bit there. I was looking up the price per pound of pork, like the average, and I was shocked. It's $6 to $7 is what I'm seeing online right now. And I was like, wow, I honestly don't even like, when I was buying pork at the store, I wasn't really paying attention to that, but that's a lot. And obviously bacon's more expensive. Sausage is a little bit more expensive. That you have to take into consideration too. For the purpose of this video, I just priced out the pork average being $6.50. We would have paid about $1,300 if we were to buy the same amount of meat that we got butchered at the store. We got about 300 pounds of pork back from the butcher. For us, with the butcher cost, we ended up paying about $2.33 per pound. So that is a huge savings. It is totally worth it. And for us, there are a couple things that I would say are better about pork than beef. First of all, we have a hard time with large animals. I just struggle to like feel confident taking care of them. I would never go in with the cows by myself. I was always way too afraid of them. And they would get out. I've told this story before, but they would get out all the time and it would just scare me because they're such large animals that I wasn't able to handle them. With the pigs, I was able to go in there, feed them. I'm 36 weeks pregnant, 37 now. Weeks pregnant, and up until we took them to butcher, I still felt comfortable going in to give them food and water. And that is huge. Like feeling comfortable around your animals is something you can't really even put a price on, because being around cows where I was so nervous and so uncomfortable, when they got out, I was just like, I'm not going to do anything about it. Like hopefully they come back, because I was so afraid. With the pigs, like they got out a few times and I was able to get them back in by myself. So it's just a huge difference there. And I really think that's something to take into consideration when you're going to be raising your own animals. The struggle that we had was kind of having an attachment to these pigs. They were so friendly and so nice. Colton loved the pigs. And like the day after we took him to butcher, Colton's like, where are the piggies? And it was so hard because he does love those pigs. But I think it's definitely something that we're teaching him, is you can love your animals. You can also eat them. I know that's like such a weird concept to some people, is how do you care for these animals and then take them to butcher? And I think it's a different mindset when you realize like the food industry and what's going on. For me, I am much more comfortable raising my own animals and taking them to butcher than buying meat from the store. I just know what happens, and I feel more comfortable when I'm eating it. The other struggle that we had was, like I said a little bit ago, is they got out. They got out only like 2 or 3 times. The one time they got out, they just ran to like another pasture that we had, and then I was able to lure them back with food. Of course, it wasn't a big deal. They weren't screaming or anything like that. The one time Andrew left the door open or something, and they got out, and he had to kind of chase them around a little bit, but it wasn't a huge deal. When we had our cows, they like ran down the road, up the road. It was it was chaos. With the pigs, they're not really like running anywhere. They just more would like get out and like root in the ground, and then we'd have to lure them back with food. So it was a struggle, but it wasn't not nearly as bad as having cows get out. One other thing that I'm going to say it's a struggle just because it was kind of inconvenient, but that's on us, is they consume a lot of water. We would fill up their water like constantly and they would go through it. So I would suggest, and what we're going to do next time is we're going to have like a really big water trough for them. We kind of had like those big water dishes, which we thought would be fine. And obviously it wasn't. They were always thirsty. So that's something to think about. Make sure you have like a water source by your pigs if you decide to get them so that you can have water for them. What we really liked about raising the pigs is they're smaller animals. Like I said before, this is something that I'm really concerned about with having kids around here, just having animals that I feel comfortable with. They were easy to catch. They weren't anything crazy like a cow. We had the pasture set up for them. So for us, it was pretty easy. Like Andrew just picked them up, brought them home, and they were set. We really didn't have to put any infrastructure in. If you would have to put something in, it wouldn't be anything crazy like stalls for, horses or cows or anything. You could honestly do like a little shed or just like an overhang or something for them to stay in. But for us, we already had a pasture with fencing, so we could literally just bring them home and let them go. Kept them in part of our barn, which was nice. Like we already have a barn, so that infrastructure is already there. Again, if you don't have one, you wouldn't need one. You would need something to keep them shaded, but you wouldn't need like a full-on barn. But again, for us, it was just easy to implement them right into the barn. We did keep them separated from our other potbelly pigs just because they can get a little rowdy. So we did keep them separate. And the last thing that I really, really liked about having these pigs is it was such a short turnaround to get them grown and to butcher that we didn't have a cost of hay. We didn't have a cost of feeding them for 2 years or 18 months or anything like that, like you would with beef. It was only a couple months and then they were gone. Part of that is sad, I know, but when you're raising animals for the purpose of butchering them, a short turnaround is always great because then you know you're going to have the meat in your freezer sooner than later. Cuts that we got, I'll talk to you guys about this because this was also in that one video that I talked about, like, is it worth it? And I was telling you when we got our beef back from our cows, that was something that we struggled with, is because there wasn't cuts in there that we were used to seeing or that we thought we would see. And that like threw us for a loop. We ended up selling a lot of our beef. It was kind of a disappointment. The butcher that we took our our pigs to was recommended to us by someone, and we'd actually had his sausage before, so we knew we liked it. But this is what we got, and we're still waiting on the ham, and waiting on the hams and the bacon because he's curing that and smoking it. So I would recommend, if you are not butchering it yourself, to find a butcher who you can test out their product first, because you want to make sure you actually like what they're producing. And then find someone who you feel comfortable with. You can actually see them butcher your animal. I know a lot of places will, take an animal and you don't really know if you're getting yours back or not. I know that happens a lot with processing deer. But anyways, so we got 43 pounds of maple sausage, and we love maple sausage, so we got literally all of it maple. 19 pork chops, 10 pork roasts, 4 center cut roasts, 6 pork steak, 6 baby back ribs, 2 tenderloins, 2 pork ribs. We have a ton of meat. As you saw, our freezer is full, and we are just excited to go ahead and try this. I'm going to be making a pork roast tomorrow, which is going to be my first attempt at making any of this pork that we got back. My husband already had some of the maple sausage, which he loves. So I'm really excited. I think we will do the pigs again. In my opinion, I do think it's worth it. If you're looking to start raising your own animals, I would suggest probably starting with meat chickens, and then hopefully you can venture into something like pigs. Again, in my opinion, I like it better than beef. Do we eat more pork than beef? We are going to now. But I hope this was helpful. I know that when I was looking at videos to try and figure out what animals to raise, I was kind of finding it hard to understand like what is actually the benefit of raising your own meat. And as you can tell, we are significantly saving money when it comes to raising animals for pork. Same thing with the chickens. Once we get our meat chickens, I'll do a video just like this and I'll take better notes on how much the feed costs, but I know we save significant money with the chickens as well. If you want to also sell some of it, you could do that as well to kind of get back some of the money that you've spent. That's always a great option. We did that with our meat chickens and our beef. So it kind of covered the cost of at least the butcher. So I hope this was helpful. I will see you guys next week.